Country western music originated in the United States of America in the early 1900s. In the century since its begun, it's become popular all around the world. It has spawned several subgenres. Throughout each of these eras, Canucks have had solid representation and even spawned some industry game changers like Shania Twain, and without her, Taylor Swift wouldn't even exist. You're welcome, America. Nowadays, Canada has a strong foothold in every aspect of country music. In the mainstream, we've got artists like Dallas Smith and Haley Benedict, and then on the other side, we got this alternative scene that's been blowing up with artists like Nolene Hoffman, Jake Vaudeland, William Prince. But before all of that, there was just a wee Nova Scotia lad with dreams of being a singer. Born in Brooklyn, Nova Scotia in 1914, Hank Snow was the fifth of 6 children that George and Maude had. His 2 oldest siblings had passed away, and it was actually super hard for them to keep food on the table. His dad worked in a sawmill, his mom cleaned houses and washed clothes. Both of his parents had that artistic flair to them, okay? His dad really loved to sing, and his mom used to actually play piano during the silent movies in the movie theaters. She also did a few minstrel shows. At 8 years old, his parents got divorced, and the local overseer of the port, that's for sure a dated term, determined that it was not possible for his mom to financially provide for them. So after Hank Snow and his siblings bounced around to different family members and different households, his mom did remarry, and things started to look up for them. Except the guy that she married was super abusive, and he took that out on Hank often. But the remarriage was good for a few things, because first of all, she purchased a Hawaiian steel guitar and lessons, and a gramophone player that played 78 RPM records, and the 2 things just blew his tits right off. At this point, he's learning how to play one of the most influential instruments in country music, and he's hearing all of this music on 78 RPMs, and it's really just shaping him into the artist that he's going to become. The next big step in his life was that he became a cabin boy on a fishing boat. He wasn't allowed to actually get paid, but what he was allowed to do was sell fish that he caught after they returned home from their trip. He ended up saving up enough money for a guitar and for a songbook, and he started learning it and playing it for his deckmates. But after a particularly bad storm that almost caused the ship to capsize, he swore off the sea forever. Which is fair, because the ocean is scary. I mean, thalassophobia, I definitely have that. Look at shit like this. You're telling me that's not scary? That's not terrifying? That's not rocking you to your core? After making music his full-time concentration, he really struggled to make money at the time. But there was a silver lining, because he did meet the love of his life, his first and only wife, Minnie. They got married in 1935, and they shortly after had their son, Jimmy. And Minnie really supported him. Like, she encouraged him to pursue music to the absolute utmost degree. It was around this time that he auditioned for and got the job to host a Saturday night radio show on CHNS, which was Nova Scotia's very first AM radio station. FM wasn't invented yet, but this was their first radio station. And that job paid him 0 monies. None. But he was in front of an audience every single week. In 1936, he received a contract with RCA Victor out of Montreal, Quebec. Eventually, his Canadiana ballads that were heavily inspired by that Appalachian music that he grew up listening to, they started to blow up in Canada. And he started to become a celebrity in the Maritimes. But like all great Canadian entertainers, he hit a ceiling and had to move. Because Canadians do not give a fiddler's about their own people until they blow up in America, he decided to set his sights on Nashville. And in 1949, he moved down there, and oh boy, was it a struggle at first. It also didn't help that around this time, he was going by Hank Snow, the Singing Ranger. Terrible moniker. But he did start working pretty quickly when he got down there, and he was on the Opry stage in a matter of no time.
That big 8-wheel rolling down the track means the 211 daddy ain't coming back till I'm leaving the ball.
Number 1 chart position for 21 weeks straight. It was on the radio everywhere. It blew him up into a household name, and he was suddenly able to tour and make a ton of money doing so. Well on top of the charts, doing world tours, other appearances, it's all going well for him. But then he had a twist of fate that really cemented his legacy. Elvis. He discovered Elvis. A road show in the 1950s, Snow's manager came up to him and said that there was a young kid that would like to open for him on the show. Hank Snow ended up giving him a chance, and he liked him so much that not only did he decide to mentor him, he became a co-manager for Presley. He also brought him to the Grand Ole Opry stage in 1954. I think that was the only time that Elvis ever performed on the Opry stage. Hank Snow really did a lot of controversial stuff for the Opry. While mentoring Elvis Presley, he did something that would end up becoming a bad choice later on down the line. He introduced him to Colonel Tom Parker. Now, if you have not seen the Elvis movie, he's the antagonist of the movie. Just a real bag of dirt. Also, terrible accent. I don't know what Tom Hanks was doing here, but it's not good.
He was a taste of forbidden fruit.
Hank took Elvis on the road, let him open for him. He was really like taking him to that next level. And eventually Elvis got so big that there was no need for Hank Snow anymore. Colonel Tom Parker didn't much care for the guidance that Hank Snow was giving to Elvis, so he had Elvis fire him. And in a Game of Thrones level of betrayal, he did. Not only is this guy a country legend, but he also helped birth rock and roll. He was also heavily involved with ACE, which was the Association of Country Entertainers. It was founded by George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Dolly Parton, Hank Snow, a number of artists like that. And it was basically a way to try and maintain what country music was. They were all super concerned about how pop was kind of taking over country music. It proved to be a losing battle, and by the end of the decade, Hank Snow had left ACE. In 1981, after a 45-year-long relationship, RCA dropped him from the label. He famously said that 80% of country music today is not fit to listen to. If only he had seen how much worse it was gonna get. Did someone say my name? Not at all. Why are you here? I'm doing a video on Hank Snow. Them old country legends would have loved me. I really don't think that that's true. I actually just cited a source that would state the opposite. Buddy, you're about to lose your job. What? Imagine falling for the trap I set for you. I'm sorry, are you having a stroke? I want this. Well, if you don't have talent, you might as well wear it. Papa? Papa? I'm coming, Papa.
It's kind of a task to get him to eat, to sit still long enough to eat, you know?
He passed away in 1996 at his home outside of Madison, Tennessee, due to a respiratory illness. But let's take a quick look at some of the quick facts about Hank Snow. He recorded 140 albums. He had 85 singles chart. He was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Country Western Recording in 1963. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, as well as the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. And after the successes of I'm Moving On and I've Been Everywhere, he was able to buy a ranch outside of Madison, Tennessee, which he named the Rainbow Ranch. He owned the Rainbow Ranch. With suits like these, this guy was definitely an ally. He also founded the Hank Snow International Foundation for the Prevention of Child Abuse in 1978, which he did to help combat child abuse and mistreatment, something that he was all too familiar with, and something that he was probably most proud of. That's one of the most important aspects of his legacy, and something that he was really invested in. I'd recommend you go check out any Hank Snow record. I mean, there is literally 60 hours of recorded music that he has done, so there's something that you're gonna like in there, for sure. But that's it. That's all I got on Hank Snow. I mean, there's a lot more about him, but there's like more information that I couldn't possibly fit into a video. But what do you want me to talk about next? Tell me your favorite Hank Snow song in the comments. Or disagree with me and tell me that I look like a wisdom tooth like this guy did. I don't know what that means, but it made me laugh and it also hurt, which I think is like kind of the perfect thing to comment. I'm still new to this whole style of video format thing, so like, subscribe, do all that stuff, please. Thank you.